From bomb cyclones to atmospheric rivers, it's just been one thing after another since we rang in the new year. We have been rocked by weather systems that are notoriously tricky to forecast. But lucky for us, the cavalry has arrived. The same military planes that fly into hurricanes are on assignment in Northern California. And you already know, the one and only Brandon Rittiman takes us aboard the Hurricane Hunters as they fly over the Pacific and into the eye of the storm.
Loaded, locked, and each time this crew aboard the Hurricane Hunter plane makes a drop, scientists on dry land get more data over the Pacific.
We're basically cutting across the atmospheric river right now.
An atmospheric river moves 25 times as much water as the Mississippi River, streaming through the air out of the Pacific Ocean.
Basically a fire hose precipitation.
A fire hose pointed towards tens of millions of people on the West Coast. People who are already soaked. California started the year with rain that turned deadly, floods from broken levees, widespread wind damage. That's what greeted the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron when it arrived in Sacramento with 4 Hurricane Hunter aircraft. Usually based in Mississippi, these are special C-130 cargo planes tricked out to gather and transmit weather data. We were part of a small group of journalists allowed on board. Up in the cockpit, pilot Peyton Eustace is starting his 8th year flying for this unit.
Just about the 2nd year, maybe 3rd, doing atmospheric river. It's a relatively new mission for us.
Just like the name implies, we're used to seeing hurricane hunters over the Atlantic. They give us stunning visuals flying into the eye walls of hurricanes. We're not going to do that this flight.
Even in this atmospheric river environment, we try to keep a distance from thunderstorms.
But the mission is similar. When it comes to weather data, the Pacific can be a big, blue, black box.
Our job is to collect data from these atmospheric river systems as they're approaching the West Coast.
They do that using these drop zones, or SONs for short, which they shoot out the bottom of the plane.
Once they shoot the drop zone out of this tube, it deploys a parachute. It'll take 12 minutes to fall all the way down to the ocean, sending data back up to the plane all the way.
Pressure, temperature, humidity, wind speed, wind direction. And we're dropping 25 to 30 of those SONs along our entire route today.
Once that data comes on board, it's sent from the plane to the world by satellite. Within 10 seconds, it's already in the weather models to be used by forecasters and scientists like Anna Wilson, who studies atmospheric rivers.
They aren't new, but we've only in the past few decades really been able to spot them with satellite. There's a lot of research ongoing to understand how atmospheric rivers may change with climate change.
A lot of us out west grew up hearing about atmospheric rivers, but by a different name, the Pineapple Express, because of where many of them come from.
We're basically halfway to Hawaii right now.
Atmospheric rivers can actually happen all over the world, but their forecasted landfall can be off by 200 to 300 miles. It's also hard to predict the amount of rain and when it's going to fall, all crucial information to keep reservoirs from flooding. Part of the trouble, the atmospheric river is around 10,000 feet, and higher clouds can block satellite images. But SONs can punch right through, measuring even more information. And studies show that data helps.
We can have as much as 20% improvement in the precipitation intensity forecasts in the Pacific Northwest.
I've been on a mission that's 12 hours, but we enjoy anything less than 10, I'll tell you that.
Hurricane hunters are used to long flights. They'll pass the time with push-ups over the Pacific for at least the next couple months.
Brandon's with us now. You were flying from 9:30 to 7.
Yeah.
You throw up?
Nope. Actually, honestly, the turbulence wasn't that bad. It's my
good.
second time in a C-130, and this was the less choppy exercise.
So you're a pro.
They avoid the storm system. We're going over it, which was nice.
Now, how do we know that this is even working?
So it was really interesting talking to the Scripps Institute. They said basically, we talked about how this data goes into the models in real time. So they rerun those models, taking out the data they got from the planes, and they can see forecast wasn't quite as good without it. So that's one of the ways they're able to just really quickly spot check.
And where are they doing this? Are they doing this in other places?
Yeah, well, so there's a lot of activity over the Pacific right now. We have flights going out of Mather Field here in Sacramento, but there's also a plane owned by NOAA, the more comfortable plane. It's a Gulfstream instead of one of these big military planes.
More comfortable plane.
Yeah, it is.
Listen to this guy.
The researchers tell me it's the more comfortable
Okay,
plane, all right? But no, they're flying out of Hawaii. So they're covering kind of that zone of the Pacific, and then we're kind of getting the space between California and halfway to Hawaii with these flights that are coming out of here. And they're going north and south too, depending on the need.
All right, Brandon, thank you so much. Happy you made it back safely. We appreciate it.
Me too.
All right. All right, let's go ahead and switch to our main point tonight.
This has been a hard time still for me. I cry every day. I torture myself and watch the video because I just want to understand why they didn't give my father that chance to come home to me.
That's the daughter of Sherrano Stingley, the man whose case that we have been following for more than a month now. The family has been calling for more body camera video, but today we are learning the sheriff's office has no plans to release more anytime soon. Now, Stingley died in the hospital after an arrest by Sacramento County Sheriff's deputies last month left him unconscious. The sheriff's office says that they were responding to a report of a man under someone's truck in Sacramento County neighborhood. Stingley's family says that their loved one was in the middle of a mental health crisis and was searching for the home of his daughter, who lives nearby in that same neighborhood. This video shows Stingley initially complying with deputies, but then a struggle ensued. By the fourth minute, Stingley appears unconscious. California law requires law enforcement agencies to release body camera video within 45 days of a critical incident. And that's when an officer shoots at someone or uses force that seriously injures or kills someone. Now, at this point, the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office has released video from just one of the deputies' cameras. Stingley's family, their attorney, and an independent expert that we talked with today, they say that they do not think that this fulfills the legal requirement.
The public has a right to know what's happening, and they can see for themselves. And to edit a video and snippets of statements and this officer's camera or portions of that, but not anyone else's camera, that's an attempt to skew what you're seeing. That's not what the purpose of the bill is, which is supposed to be to encourage transparency.
I honestly knew that they was not going to release nothing because they know they messed up.
There's body camera footage available from different angles, which will show that they beat him repeatedly upon the head, that they struck him with a flashlight, that they smashed his head on the concrete.
The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office tells us they have classified this as an in-custody death. They claim that doesn't qualify as a critical incident, and therefore they are not required to release more body camera video. They say that the Sheriff's Office leaders will decide whether they'll release any more, but that there are no plans to do so anytime soon. Of course, we will continue to follow this case. All right, we've gotten a whole lot of rain and snow over the past 2 weeks, but where are we when it comes to the state's drought? We'll explain more after the break. The million-dollar question that has arisen after all of these storms: is the drought finally over? Surely, with rivers running high and our mountains full of snow, we must be in the clear, right? Unfortunately, it's just not that simple. Brendan Minship explains it all.
I'm here at Nimbus Dam this afternoon, where you can see behind me there's quite a bit of water being let out, and water being released from lakes is a sure sign that we've had a lot of rain recently, and the drought is reflecting the rain that we've seen. Take a look at your screens now. You're going to notice that red color is all but gone from the maps. That level 4 and level 3 droughts, the extreme and the exceptional categories, are again just about gone. No level 4 exceptional drought across the state. Only 0.3% of the state is in that level 3 extreme category. That is right along the California-Oregon border. For the most part, the state is in that level 1, level 2 category, which are those orangish colors there. That means we've really seen a lot of improvement, even just over the last few months. Remember where we started the water year, had a lot of that persistent exceptional drought category down in the San Joaquin Valley. But with all the recent rains, that drought is showing significant improvement. Still a ways to go, though. The big reservoirs up north, Shasta and Oroville, still need more rainfall, but the good news is there's more in the forecast. But the smaller, the more shallow reservoirs like Folsom, they are having to release some water because of all the rain that we've had and the snowmelt from the Sierra. And speaking of snowmelt, a big milestone just the other day, we've crossed over that 100% of April 1st average threshold. That's a big deal because the peak snowpack typically right around the start of April. So the fact that we've already hit that 100% of average for that time of year is really good news as we start to work into our drier months here in California.
All right, Brendan, thank you. When we come back, we're meeting one of Sacramento's unsung heroes that's making sure that everyone has a bite to eat through the winter storms and hearing about the challenges of our most vulnerable. The seemingly never-ending parade of storms and atmospheric rivers is dangerous, expensive, and deadly. And the most vulnerable among us are those who are unsheltered during these storms. Now, at least 2 people have died last weekend in Sacramento County after trees fell on their tents. Tonight, Becca Habegger meets with 3 women who are experiencing the hardships of living outside and also one organization that's working to help.
Depending on where you live, you might have seen these little fridges and pantries around your town. This one is in Sacramento. Bree is the founder of the Awkward Gardeners Community Table, which takes surplus food and diverts it from the landfill by giving it to people who are experiencing food insecurity. And part of that work includes restocking these fridges and pantries throughout the week, which individual homeowners decide to install and anyone can donate to.
I try to stuff my car as much as I can because I want, 1, the trip to be worth it, and 2, to feed as many folks as possible, maximize my trip.
She'll take all sorts of surplus food, but says items with a longer shelf life, something that doesn't spoil quickly, is helpful, especially now when storms mean the power to these fridges could go out.
So a lot of belongings are getting destroyed by the storms. The folks that I serve on the streets, particularly in the encampments, their encampments are being flattened.
She paid an extra visit on Tuesday to a Sacramento encampment she visits every Sunday.
It's really hard not knowing where your next meal is coming from.
Melody Friels relies on Bree's weekly visit. She lives in a tent here part-time as part of a pattern.
What happens is I get paid, I go to a motel, my money runs out, I'm on the street. I get paid, I go to a motel, my money runs out, I'm on the street. It's been that vicious circle for a couple years now. I got in a bad car wreck and that's what put me out on the street. I was working for a school district, had a car, had a home, and then I got in the car wreck on my way to church, of all things. I almost lost my life, and that's what put me on the street because I just didn't know how to do anything anymore. That's how bad it got me. But yeah, I'm just hoping for things to start turning around. You know, I just keep taking one day at a time, one day at a time.
On this day, Bree also handed out meals to Reese Tate.
It's more than just one meal. She makes sure you have stuff for like the next day or later.
She says she appreciates Bree's consistency.
Especially out here living like this, it's important to have consistency because it kind of gets you in the mindset of being consistent with yourself.
Hi, super fast. Nope, nope, nope.
Amanda Rose Riano lives in a bus parked here, but even in a vehicle.
We can't stay dry no matter what we try because repairs haven't been done yet. It's hard to make repairs when you can only park places for 72 hours at a time.
We asked all of these women what they'd like those of us with secure housing to keep in mind during these storms and beyond.
I just say be kind to everyone. If you have never been been in this situation, never say never, for one, because it's one of the most hardest situations to deal with, homelessness, period. And just be kind. Just if you have it, give it, because what goes around comes around, and what you put out is definitely what you'll get back.
Perhaps the issue should not be focused on whether or not I'm living within 4 walls. Maybe the issue should be focused more on how do we get you where you're living and thriving, you know, and take the homeless part out of it.
All I can say is very difficult. It's a hard life, a very hard life. You don't ever want to do it again. Just don't want to do it right now, but no choice.
And as we mentioned, fallen trees have taken the lives of multiple people. They've also caused a lot of damages in places like Midtown and Sacramento. So why have so many trees been falling? And if one falls on your property, what can you do about it? Here's what we found.
Deciduous trees lose their leaves and thus are much more resilient to high winds. The evergreen trees are capturing that wind and really feeling the force of it.
It makes sense. The trees that don't lose their leaves are more impacted by strong winds, but it's deeper than that, or maybe it's not deep enough.
If your neighbor's tree falls on your property or your automobile, you are responsible.
Drought reduction strategies call for using less water, which means tree roots grow closer to the surface. But let's say a tree like this elm in Midtown falls on your home. Or you walk out your front door and find your car like this. Who pays for that?
So if a tree falls on your property but doesn't do any damage to either your home or your automobile, there is no coverage to have that removed. If it does do damage to any covered property, so anything that's covered under your policy, either home or auto, there is coverage provided for that removal.
And unless you could prove that your neighbor was negligent and that the tree was already dead or falling over before the storm, it's not likely that they would be liable. But now you've got another problem. How are you going to get rid of that tree? If it caused damage, the removal could be covered. So always check your insurance policy. And if you have questions, ask your agent. And there is a small silver lining here for any trees that are still standing.
Build roots in their structure in response to the wind. And so if it makes it through this, then you've got yourself a very resilient tree.
Monica, for as long as you've been here, have you seen wind like this?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yeah, at least a couple of times. I have.
It's just so, it's amazing, but it is horribly sad that people are experiencing this.
Right,
now.
yeah, and now we're back to the saturated ground situation. Winds are going to return with this next wave of wet weather that moves through. This will be more of a Saturday event, not quite at the speed that we saw last Saturday night. Instead, we're going to see those winds peaking as we head deep into the afternoon, close to about 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts Saturday afternoon. Those are going to die down as we head into the overnight hours. But it's nice that we got this break from the rain because we've had 14 days straight with measurable precipitation. We're going to end it for today because we didn't see any rain. But since December 29th, we had 8.40 inches of rain. January, a total soaker for us today, the first day that we haven't seen rain since the beginning of the new year. So total to date just for this month is closing in on 5 inches. And we've got more that's going to take us through the weekend. A huge pipeline of moisture coming in with storm system number 8 and 9, which will wrap us up in the series of storms. So now we're basically dealing with the cumulative effect, not so much individual storms, but also a flood emergency and components of drought still, because Shasta and Oroville are far from average. We've got more rain on the way. It's not going to fill those biggest reservoirs, the keystone reservoirs in the state, but it's enough to get us back to those flooding concerns, especially late on Saturday into Sunday. Monday, rain and snow travel delays continue for the holiday. So we've got one monitoring station on the Sacramento River. That's going to be at Ord Ferry, north of Sacramento. That's going to be above flood stage by the weekend. We're right back to that flood watch Saturday through Sunday with rainfall and runoff causing concerns. And the snow, a winter storm warning goes into effect tomorrow. That'll take us all the way through Tuesday, 3 to 5 feet of new snow. Today, a warm day, sun peeking through, 50s and 60s down low, 40s up top for the Sierra. Rain returning tomorrow afternoon. Not quite as windy, but we will see gusty conditions and a chance of thunderstorms tomorrow, mainly along the coast and through the northern San Joaquin Valley. Friday, our snow level starts off roughly about 6,000 feet, down to about 5,500 on Saturday. By Sunday, we're at 4,000 feet and 4,000 feet again on Monday. So basically, as this storm system rolls on through, we're going to find lowering snow level, lots of lower chain controls and big travel delays in the Sierra as this winter weather is going to wrap things up as we head into early next week. So about 3 to 4 inches of rain for the valley, 4 to 7 inches in the foothills, because you can see straight through next Monday, we at least have that chance of rain. And the 10-day forecast shows us with a slight chance of showers even into Wednesday, Alex.
All right, Monica, thank you. And we do have a whole list of resources to help you prepare for the incoming storms. Super simple. Just text the word storm to 916-321-3310. We'll send everything right to your phone. We'll be right back. You see this guy right here, this little cutie? His name is Edgar, actually. He was out enjoying the sunshine today, and so were a lot of you. And although the good weather, it may be fleeting, our photojournalist Vanessa Bizzuto and our digital producer Ayanna Williams are helping us end things on a good note before those storms return.
We took our dog out because it's been so rainy and windy, and we love the area.
I feel like it's like 60 degrees today, so it's definitely like getting the serotonin from the sun. It's very nice out.
Yeah, I'm just walking my son in the park out here, man. Super nice. Weather is nice, beautiful day out. Something different than the storms, I guess, it's been out here.
It's been great. I got to take off my jacket for the first time in a long time.
It's very important to get outside in the winter, you know. I guess just to get a different feel for the nature.
Really helps your mood, or it just makes you feel more energetic, I think, too.
The spirit, yes, definitely, for the mood.
Can't lie, the sun had me smiling today. All right, let us know what's going on in your community. If you have any great pictures from today, send us our way. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow night. Again, stay safe. That next storm is coming. Hey. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.